Hello, Lakers Nation. My name is Trevor Lane, senior writer for LakersNation.com, and this is the Lakers Nation newsfeed breaking down all of the latest Lakers news today. We're talking about LeBron James, and he is not pleased with something the NCAA is doing. We're going to dive into it. First, quick shout out to our sponsor, Uptime Energy Drink. So energy should feel. You can find them at 7-Eleven, GNC, and Amazon.com. In fact, you can get a whole case at Amazon.com. That's the way I do it. Go grab some Uptime Energy Drinks. Keeps you going in the middle of a tough day. Okay, so what's happening right now is the NCAA has just come out with a new series of rules that LeBron James feels like might be aimed at his agent, Rich Paul. Take a look at this. John Rothstein of CBS Sports reports the NCAA has officially added criteria for agents who wish to represent student athletes testing the waters for the NBA draft. That criteria being that they have a bachelor's degree, be certified with the NBA Players or National Basketball Players Association for a minimum of 3 years, take an in-person exam at the NCAA office in Indianapolis. Those are the new rules that the NCAA is proposing. Now look, what's been going on is that the NBA has always had this agreement with the NCAA where agents who are NBA certified or certified by the NBPA have also been certified by the NCAA. There's been that kind of reciprocity. And so the way this works is that players would wind up going into the NBA draft. And it used to be that once you hired an agent, that was it. You couldn't go back to school. Well, then the NCAA finally went ahead and changed the rule, which made a ton of sense. Because look, a lot of guys feel like their draft stock is really, really high. They feel like, oh yeah, get there and they find out, okay, maybe I'm not. But by that point, if they've hired an agent, they can't go back. And that was a problem. And so now players can do that. Players can hire an agent. They can test the waters. They can get some real feedback. And I'm talking about valuable information about their own draft stock. And if they find out, hey, I might just be a second rounder, maybe I'm not even going to be drafted, then they can go ahead and withdraw their name from the NBA draft, and then they can go back to college. Look, this is a great thing. This is a good thing for the NBA. This is a good thing for college basketball because you can have these high-level players coming back into college athletics. And so that's an important step here. But now the NCAA is throwing this rule in, and look, LeBron James, he is not pleased. In fact, found out about it. He took to Twitter, and check this out. LeBron James takes to Twitter, instantly tweets out, hashtag the Rich Paul rule. And then he said, can't stop, won't stop. They big mad and scared. Nothing will stop this movement and culture over here. Sorry, not sorry. And then LeBron went on a retweeting spree, started retweeting people who were complaining about this new rule, even retweeted Rich Eisen at one point. In fact, let me throw that up here. So he retweeted Rich Eisen, who had actually quote tweeted LeBron, who said hashtag stay woke, and had referenced a number of articles that pointed out that Rich Paul has been kind of bucking the trend. He's been the guy that, without a college degree, has managed to find success as an agent, has been doing some incredible work, and that there's a lot of agents who have kind of come up through the system the old way who feel uneasy about that, who feel threatened by Rich Paul and the success that he's had. They're frustrated with him not having to go through school, get a law degree like a lot of agents have, and so they don't like that Rich Paul was able to come in and kind of hit the ground running as an agent. And LeBron says that that's a joke. And Rich Eisen, you can see here, does as well. Rich Eisen says, who also didn't graduate college? Steve Jobs, Peter Jennings, Ellen DeGeneres, and so on. Imagine if people in their industries lobbied to make sure they couldn't ply their crafts with some silly rule about needing a degree. Requiring Rich Paul to get a BA is BS. I mean, look, this is heavy stuff here. LeBron James is not happy at all with what NCAA basketball is trying to do with his agent Rich Paul and other agents that are like Rich Paul, other agents who may not have all of those requirements. Maybe they don't have 3 years certified with the NBPA. Suddenly those guys can't represent college basketball players. That's basically what it's coming down to. The NCAA is saying a guy like Rich Paul can't represent college athletes because he doesn't have a bachelor's degree. And look, LeBron, he hasn't come out and said it, but let's face it, there's probably some elements of racism at play here too. It's pretty ridiculous that the NCAA is going to these lengths and throwing in this rule. I mean, look, it makes sense to a degree because, look, they represent colleges. Colleges are all about getting degrees. So, of course, they're going to want agents who are representing college athletes to have degrees, right? You can kind of put that together. But an agent is not like every other job. An agent by trade is somebody who has to be very, very result oriented, someone who has to get the job done. Okay, if you don't have a college degree, it doesn't really matter as long as you're getting the job done. And I don't think anyone, regardless of what your opinion is of Rich Paul, can argue that he isn't getting the job done, that the players he represents aren't getting solid contracts, aren't getting good representation. I mean, look, we know he represents LeBron James, he represents Anthony Davis, a fellow Laker, Draymond Green, Ben Simmons, a number of high-profile NBA players, and these are guys who are pretty happy with their representation at this point. These are guys who have signed big contracts. So the bottom line is, does it matter that Rich Paul doesn't have a degree? No, because he's getting the job done. Clearly, he's proven that. His body of work shows that. So why would you hold him to that standard that, oh, you have to have a degree, while he's repping guys like LeBron James and Anthony Davis, and you're going to tell him, hey, no, you can't come represent a kid who might be wavering about declaring for the NBA draft? It's a little insane. And then to throw in, of course, because it's college, you've got to show up and actually take an exam in order to be NCAA certified. So look, the NCAA says they're protecting athletes and all of these things, but yeah, look, a lot of people have seen this as pushback against Rich Paul. Again, I mentioned before, there's this kind of groundswell of people who feel like Rich Paul has bucked the trend, bucked the system, and he's changed things up. And look, change is scary. For people who are part of the status quo, someone coming in and doing things differently is scary. But you know what? A lot of times it takes someone that comes in, does things differently, has a different background, has a fresh perspective. That's when we see positive changes really happen. Okay, and that's just societal issues as well as professional sports. Sometimes it takes that. Sometimes it takes someone from a different background to change things up, to find things that were wrong, that were going overlooked before, to switch the system. So you can see where people would feel threatened by Rich Paul, but again, LeBron isn't out of line here and standing up for his agent. I don't think there's any question about that. Now, I'll finish with this, though. Fortunately, and I know everyone was worried about this, LeBron James, his night wasn't ruined by this or anything like that, because guess what? He still celebrated Taco Tuesday. That's right. He actually had a pretty funny video on his Instagram story where he pretended like he was all upset and frustrated and said his energy just isn't there right now, and there's been these things going on. And then, of course, he exploded in that trademark LeBron James grin and all of that, which is becoming a great thing. And gosh, I wish the Lakers would wound up with Taco Fall, because that would have just fit in perfectly with LeBron's whole Taco Tuesday shtick. But pretty cool. LeBron was still able to sit down with his family and enjoy Taco Tuesday, despite this news about what's going on with what's being called the Rich Paul rule. So for more on this story and everything else going on in the world of the Los Angeles Lakers, make sure you head over to LakersNation.com. And of course, give us a follow on social media at LakersNation, on Twitter and Facebook, at LakersNationOfficial on Instagram. And don't forget to go subscribe to our channel on YouTube. Till next time, my name's Trevor Lane. You can follow me on Twitter at Trevor_Lane. See ya. You can follow me on Twitter at Trevor_Lane. See ya.